Are you ready to learn more about the different jobs that you can do as a digital nomad? In this video, I'm going to walk you guys through about 10 plus jobs that I know that you can do if you're going to become a digital nomad. These are basically remote work jobs. So this is kind of your work anywhere jobs. I realize I've not done this kind of video in a while, and all of this talk of how I've become a digital nomad, the pros and cons of it kind of jog like, oh yeah, I haven't done that kind of video for you. And these are jobs that, to be honest, if I was to start all over again and wanted to really full-time become a digital nomad, not like a person who does like having a base, I would probably dive in and be able to do. Now, the first one is starting a digital product business. So this is something that I've also dived into, kind of more of just a side hustle to like to do. So if you guys go on to my Gumroad site, you guys will see a couple of products that I've created through Notion, a couple of PDFs, things like that, where you can start creating things just on your computer and start selling them online as well. So for me, I am someone who consumes them. So I was like, hey, I can start creating these as well. These are basically Notion templates. This could be journal templates. These could be things that people, as they're getting started on different things, is they can just go ahead and download and start. So for example, I have a virtual assistant checklist that you guys can grab. I have a list of AI prompts that you can use that you guys can also grab. I'll put all of those in the link below. But basically, I've created a lot of just products that from time to time, when I'm doing an Instagram post, a LinkedIn post, or a YouTube video, I will be promoting or plugging it like, hey, check out this if you need this as a resource. I know so many other creators who've not really created content like I do, but they just basically promote their digital products on Instagram or Facebook, and they make a lot of money because I see the amount of people who are grabbing their stuff online. So if this is something that you want to dive into, if you're someone who you like creating templates or checklists for people, you can definitely get started here, because then you basically set it up, have a way that if you have a business partner or someone you know who does maybe Facebook ads or Instagram ads, you can just kind of run that, or you can start creating more content on it, or whatever that looks like. But selling digital products is one of the more kind of quick and easy things to dive into if you already have something that people always ask you for. So for example, I have the list of 205 tasks you can delegate to an assistant. That was something that we don't have that for sale. We have that for free, to be honest. But that's one of the things that people kept asking us is like, hey, what can I delegate to an assistant? Like, oh, here's a guide for you. So if you are someone who you have some sort of expertise in something, or you might be like where I was in my life, where I'm the oldest daughter and I was always booking people's flights and hotels, I could create a checklist out of that. So whatever it is that in your life people ask you constantly for advice, checklist, or any guide for, you can create a digital product out of that, start selling it on Gumroad and Etsy, anywhere else. I am not the expert on that. There's so many amazing experts on that, but that is kind of one of the first things that you can just do right off the get-go to kind of start getting yourself ramped up to the next level as you start becoming a digital nomad. And honestly, the cool thing about this is whichever time zone you're in, you're probably good. The next kind of work that you can do as a digital nomad is a copywriter. And this is something that I would do if I had to restart it all over again. If you guys have been following me for a while, I did start my journey as a writer myself when I was 15 years old. And if I wanted a little bit of a backup, I just go into copywriting, especially with the ease of it with AI, helping me out with brainstorming and getting me out of a little bit of a writer's block basically from time to time. So that would be another one. And there's a ton again of resources of people that you can get started with when it comes to learning how to do copywriting. I'll put some of the resources below, or actually, I'm doing this a little bit on the fly as I'm recording this video. So I'll go ahead and compile a list for you guys. I'll put it up for free and I'll put it on Gumroad so you guys can download that list. So basically, it's just an ongoing resources list for you guys that whenever you guys are watching this, whether it's when I post it or a year or 2 years from now, you guys will be able to see that list of places where you can follow different people and different amazing course creators already on how to get started on some of these jobs. Speaking of, the third type of work that you can get as a digital nomad is becoming a virtual assistant. Now, if you guys have been here for a while, I create a ton of videos on how to get started as a virtual assistant, and I do also have a course on it. Again, I will put it all in the list below, but it'll basically just have my course on how to be a virtual assistant, especially how to use it with AI and how to be able to find jobs using AI. So I have that whole course, and I'll basically make sure that I'll link that below. But essentially, when you're a virtual assistant, you're someone who does a lot of the admin work or behind the scenes for a client. As a really good example, for my own virtual assistant, she makes sure that she manages my calendar, my email. She also kind of helps manage clients, or at least make sure that I pay attention to the clients who need it. She's also in charge of repurposing my content for social media. So for you on your end, if this is something that you would want to explore and get started in, I have said this before and I'll say it again, being a virtual assistant is probably one of the kind of easier ways to start working remotely, because then you start learning what skills you want to specialize in, what skills you want to do, just because you're kind of exposed to doing everything in a business, just because your client is probably also doing everything else in their business. And if this is something you guys want to explore, make sure of course to check out the course that I do have below. Next is becoming a content assistant. Now I put this as kind of a blanket term. If you want to become a graphic artist, if you want to be a video editor, if you want to be a web designer, I just call this the content editor assistant, because you're kind of just helping people who are creating content in editing and pushing out their content everywhere else. And to be honest, just because of the world that we have now where everyone is creating content, this is something that you can definitely do, just reaching out to maybe your favorite content creators and asking them like, hey, I think we can improve your social media posts here, or I think we can improve your videos here, and this is how I would do it. So it's just finding clients like that as well. It's going to be a little bit easier as you're traveling through the world. Next is being a social media manager, and this is a role that I would dive into, and I've wanted to even start my own social media agency for so long. I'm just so in love with 2XC that I have not dived into that yet. But when you're a social media manager, you are creating posts for people, maintaining engagement, you are looking at their analytics to make sure they're posting the right things on the different platforms. So you could be someone who's a Facebook specialist, an Instagram specialist, on LinkedIn, or you're more of a general social media manager. The point of this role is that you're supporting people who don't have time to manage their social media by working with them. And most of the time, this is not dependent on the time zone that you're in. It could just be, you could just be scheduling basically the posts as they go out. You could just be awake on weird hours just to make sure the engagement is up. But this is more really something that you can do more of a flexible time. Next is being an SEO specialist, or search engine optimization specialist. This is where you go into people's, either their websites, to make sure that they are using the right keywords, creating the right content to show up on Google. It could be that you are an SEO specialist for YouTube, for example. Let's say you've mastered that. So you're going to different YouTubers and suggesting like, hey, if you put this on your title, if you put this on your keywords, you would rank better on these different websites. So depending on what kind of specialist you want to be, this is again one of the rules that you can just do a little bit on a flexible time zone, just because you are doing the research and testing things out as you go a little bit more remotely. Next is becoming a coach or consultant, and this is something that I've done myself. I am a certified AI consultant, which means that at any time, if anyone wants to start implementing AI into their business, I'm able to coach them and walk them through that. I've also been a career coach myself, and these are two types of work that you can again do kind of at any time and anywhere. You can do virtual consultations. If you really want to do in-person consultations, you can definitely do that as well. But as a digital nomad, this is kind of just a role that you can start adopting and owning an expertise that you might have, whether you're someone who's really into fitness and you've created results for other people. If you're someone who's, like I said, I did a career coaching for a little bit there as well, because I can create results for people. So whatever that looks like for you is kind of basically mapping out how you can help different people and start marketing yourself as that coach, as that consultant, and basically pushing yourself and branding yourself as that way. Next is being a programmer. Basically building code, building apps, building websites for other people. I don't have a lot of direct experience on this. I have managed programmers, I've hired programmers before for my business. But again, these are one of the jobs that if you are already someone who is an expert at it, you've already been doing it, then you can definitely start doing it as a digital nomad as well. In the last Digital Nomad Festival that I was in Bansko, Bulgaria, I've met so many programmers who were just kind of chill, who just liked being able to kind of anonymously move through the world, building code, building the apps that they're doing, and being able to support the companies that they're working for, and kind of just traveling wherever and whenever they want to. Next is being a language tutor. Now, this will depend a lot on your skills as well and your expertise, but let's say you're someone who knows how to speak Spanish and English, you can be traveling through the Latin Americas teaching people how to do that. Or if you're someone who's just a specialist on the English language, you could be going through and teaching other people like, hey, this is how you talk in this language. So depending on what that looks like for you, This is kind of very similar to the coach or consultant role, where you kind of map out essentially a study plan for these people to go through as they're learning whatever language it is that you're specialized in. Next is a virtual events planner, which is basically you're supporting people as they're doing different events. It could be that you are supporting them on in-person events, you're helping them organize the logistics of it, or you're someone who helps organize webinars, workshops, whatever that looks like. You're helping them, basically another business, manage how they're going to be setting themselves up so then they can promote their events and hopefully get people in. This could be even a setup that you can do where you get a certain percentage on the tickets sold, or it could be some sort of other deal that you can have with your possible employer, but you're specializing in basically setting up events for people. Next is becoming a community manager. It is essentially managing, it could be a Discord, it could be a school, it could be just a Facebook group, but you're managing different communities to make sure that you're answering people's questions. You're also making sure that anything that needs to be escalated up to management is escalated up to management, and as well as giving people the resources that they need to move forward. Another role is, of course, becoming a content creator. Now, it did take me a while to get to the point where YouTube would pay me, and to be honest, because I'm a content creator in the Philippines, I don't earn a lot from these videos. In fact, month to month, even with almost 25,000 subscribers, I am not earning enough to even cover how much I was making when I started all of this. But you can go ahead and, of course, do sponsorships, do management, do other things to be able to earn as a content creator, just like selling digital products, like I have been kind of doing a little bit on the down low. But you can go into this if you're someone who likes talking to the camera, or if you're someone who writes, you can also start earning money from there. Of like, if you want to be a blogger, someone who creates content that way, that is another venture that you can go into. And of course, you can go ahead and do like what I did, which is starting an agency. So an agency is essentially you are kind of a middleman between the clients and the people who can do the product or the service. So for example, in 2XU, for our clients, we do the recruitment, the management, and the training for a lot of our executive assistants. So it's not me being the executive assistants. I hire people who become the executive assistants for our clients. We have the process, we have the walkthrough, we have like a whole onboarding program to make sure that they work right. Instead of our clients directly hiring an executive assistant and that kind of fizzling out and not working out in the long run, we make sure that they're working out for the long run with the systems that we have. So that's us as an agency. Social media marketing agencies are kind of same way, where you have a client and you fulfill a specific service with them with a team. So essentially, you're not a freelancer anymore. You're really more of an agency type of having multiple people work with your client. So whatever that looks like for you, it could just essentially, from the list of everything that I've just talked about, it's kind of just a bigger version of it. You started a business around it where you're not anymore the person fulfilling the service. You have a team fulfilling that service with you. Now, if you guys have any questions at all on how to become a digital nomad, make sure to comment those below. And of course, if you guys like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there. And if you still haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of my videos every Sunday and Thursday on how to work from home and how to have a business from home, which you guys can check out those two playlists right here and the latest video right here. Hope you guys have an amazing day, and remember that small steps matters, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!